Alright, welcome everybody. And whether you're a teacher or a student, this lesson's for you. So what we have here is acrylic paints. The red is bright red, the blue is cobalt, and yellow we use Basics brand cadmium yellow medium hue. And we're going to need white, titanium white, or any kind of white you have, or black. Black is also a color you're going to need. We're going to begin with painting yellow. Here I'm labeling the center ring, which are going to be your hues, the outer ring, which are going to be your shades, and the innermost ring, which are your tints. Tinting means adding white. The outer ring that says shade will be adding a hint of black to your color. And then hue, you're going to leave it alone. So whether it be blue, red, yellow, your primary colors, or your secondary colors, or tertiary colors, you do not add black or white. And it's also important to know that you don't want to add any black and white to your colors. That's called toning. So adding black and white to anything is called toning, and you don't want to do that. That's for a different lesson. Toning is great. It's fantastic, and I utilize it in every painting that I have, but it's not for this color wheel. So here we're going to have yellow, and I'm showing you how to tint it first. We've already done that, and now we're adding a little bit of black and a hint of red. Otherwise you get this funky green that's really not applicable for any painting, and it gives you more of a shaded yellow anyways. So that's the only time we're going to use this method, is adding a hint of red to your black just to change its natural hue. Okay, so here we have blue, and we're going to add the third primary color, which is red. Make sure you're brushing using a flat brush. You could also use a round brush, but a flat brush is my preference. You also want to rinse your brush between painting sections, and it has to be clean. So make sure you have a paper towel next to you, or use that sheet of paper to test to make sure you don't have blue in your red or yellow in your red. And right now that we're mixing purple, you do not want the third primary color that does not go into purple in your brush, otherwise it starts browning your paint, dulling it, making it more of an earth tone. And that's not this project, so make sure that when you're working on a color wheel that your colors are clean and you're not mixing a third primary when it should only be two to create a secondary color. So if I'm mixing red and blue, no yellow. If I'm mixing red and yellow, no blue. As you see, we're mixing yellow and blue to make a green. This should be a very standard green. Pretty soon here you'll see tertiary colors. So what we're applying right now are primaries and secondaries. Now we're mixing yellow and red, a good amount of yellow. It's actually highly recommended that you start with yellow and add red to it. Also, when you're mixing green, start with yellow and add blue to it. And there you have it. You're gonna apply your orange to that inner ring for your hue. Now we're gonna mix a tertiary color between orange and yellow. You mix those two together, and what you should have is a very sun-kissed yellowish orange. There we go, yellow orange. We're going to apply that to our sheet of paper. If you need to draw this color wheel, please see some of our other videos. There is a tutorial on how to get the even 12 wedges spaced. You can get a full lesson on how to draw this color wheel in a previous video. Now we're mixing a fiery red that will go between the red and the standard orange. This is another tertiary color. This one should be fairly red. And might as well try some of these shades of the color. So we're applying a little bit of black, just a hint of black. Notice how I'm using the page to get rid of some of the black on the brush. If you have too much black on the brush, you're going to end up with black. Not a shaded fiery orange, but black. And notice how it's just a bit of mixing. Make sure you're making enough paint to get the job done, and then you apply. you rinse your brush, you could do the white, but make sure you don't have any black in your brush when you're trying to do a tint of that color, of any color. So I'm using a different brush, so I don't have to worry about having any black in the brush here. But if you're limited on brushes, make sure that you have a nice clean cup of water, the larger the better, and also some paper towels so you can wipe your brush and double check. Okay, next we are mixing reddish purple. We're mixing reddish purple. It's off the page, but this should look like a plum purple, very red. You should be able to feel that purple coming through. And now we're mixing its tint by applying white and only white to it. Okay, next we're going to create the tint for regular purple for your secondary color. So we're going to take some of that purple again, make it reddish purple. And for your purple, you don't have to do this in this order necessarily. It's just a tutorial. But here we go, we're mixing bluish purple now. That purple, this tertiary goes between blue and purple. So by now you should start seeing a pattern. Everything's in order. So between blue and purple, you have bluish purple. Between blue and red, purple and red, you have reddish purple. Between red and orange, you have reddish orange. Pretty soon here, between yellow and green, you'll have yellowish green. But pay attention to how much black you apply to your colors. It is the smallest speck of black that you need to apply. And if you need more, go back and add more. But once you add too much black, it gets overwhelming and hard to manage. See here, I painted it and I'm like, maybe it needs a little bit more black. You didn't see it, but I went back and added just a little bit more. Alright, so I ran out of space on the sheet. If you have a paint tray, that's fantastic. I'm showing this with limited amount of materials so students know that they can do this from home without a paint tray. This is COVID era, and perhaps you're painting and you're like, I don't have a paint tray. Well, here I'm just using the other sheet on the sketchbook. What's really fun about this is that if you end up keeping this sheet, you could later add art to it. So add some whites, some pen marks, and make it into its own little art project. So it's unwasted paper if you make it into something. This color here should be a nice blend between blue and green to get more of a teal. Add white and you really see the teal come through. Notice how I'm testing my brush on the sides. That's what the little squiggles are on that practice sheet. Alright, next I'm going to show you how to paint a straight edge. Picture that section that you're going to paint. Think of it as a pool of paint or an ocean. If you were an ocean creating waves, what you want to do is bring your waves in slowly onto the beach, and every time you do that you create a little bit of a straight line, a very solid straight line. And so what you want to do is keep practicing and practicing in your ocean, creating that blade of a line that you want to create on the final edge, and you bring it in closer and closer until, like that, you create a nice solid edge. You want to practice that over and over again on this color wheel. You have plenty of time. Short edge. Practice it. You have plenty of opportunity to practice it here on this color wheel. Now it's time for lime green. This is one of your, or it is your last tertiary color. Add a little bit of black to it. Added some water to thin it out a little bit. Lastly, take that lime green without any black in it, add some white. Tint is ready to go. Add a little bit more lime green because it was missing a bit. So it's okay to go back and fine tune as long as you apply it pretty immediately. My yellowish orange is just a little too dark when it comes to the shade that I created. So stay tuned for the end of this video where I will show you how to fix that. That's a much better shade there for my regular orange. Just a few more shapes to paint and we're ready to go. Also, one of the last things I show on this video is how to paint brown. You know, you may be wondering, how do you mix red, yellow, and blue to create a nice earth tone brown, you know, nice chocolatey brown? We'll be covering that pretty soon. And apply those last two colors. So time for a demonstration on how to paint brown. You're going to need yellow, red, and blue. Make sure there's no white or black in it yet. My trick is you start with yellow, add a little bit of red to make it orangish, and then add some blue. What it's going to do is automatically give you like an orangish brown, something undesired. So what we want to do is, if it's orangish brown, look at the opposite side of the color wheel, it's blue. So add some blue. And now it looks a little bit it's still orangish brown, so you may want to add a little bit more blue. But if it looks greenish brown, you look at the color wheel, opposite of green, directly across on the color wheel is red. If it's looking purplish brown, the opposite of purple across the color wheel is yellow. And you juggle those colors, applying just a little bit at a time until you get a nice chocolatey brown. So here, this is how you fix an error on your color wheel or on anything else. What I like to tell students is that acrylic is great because you can use white as white out to fix something. You could also use blue as blue out, yellow as yellow out, red as red out, green as green out. It doesn't matter what color you apply. You can just let it dry and apply a new color over the top. So here, once the white has dried, I've applied a better version of a shaded yellowish orange. Maybe add a little bit more black. Boom. Done. Alright, thanks for watching this. Make sure you check out some of the other videos and please subscribe to this YouTube channel and we'll see you next time.